And what is up, everyone? Welcome to another week of the BB Brains, where we're capping off the pre jury phase of Big Brother 27. And frankly, it's been an eviction long overdue for our boot tonight in Mickey. I was really hoping to be Vince, but apparently he's good at catching balls compared to her. So when you win some and lose some, but you can definitely tell tonight Vince has some scheming to go along with all of his lawn hugs and weird massages with Morgan. But what happened to get to Mickey's eviction, and what happened along the week that wasn't shown on the show? Because quite honestly, and frankly, because I'm gonna be saying this a lot tonight because I love Ava. There were a lot of stuff that the edit was really missing out on, and what could have easily been Vince's downfall this week. Had he been a final nominee next to, so let's say Ashley. But yeah, so we had a very interesting week to cap off the pre-jury with Keanu, of all people, winning the HOH, with him having this weird plan of nominating Vince, Morgan, and Mickey in hopes of taking out Morgan and having Vinny open his eyes that he needs to work with Keanu and not with Morgan for some reason, because Keanu's vision of reality is entwined with Dungeons and Dragons, personally, I feel. But to see that, Morgan wins the veto this week over an amazing appearance by the legend herself, Angela, from last season, and to have basically Mickey just come like a few balls away from losing the blockbuster made for an interesting week. But starting off the week, we came back from the feeds. We find out Keanu wins HOH, and Keanu really goes into it on Vince. He's telling him that he's going up despite Vince crying and stuff, which definitely made it to the episode. But it was like a lot of just like Vince just like really trying to like tell Keanu, it's like, no, no, don't put me up. Keanu, please. I should have done it. I should have nominated Rachel. I screwed up my game. It's like so much of this week. And I'm just like ready to just scream every time I see Vince on my screen. But there's a lot of reasons I was ready to scream whenever I saw Vince on my screen. But yeah, and we just like had a lot of just like Keanu's one-on-one talks with everyone, and how so many people are trying to get Keanu's attention because, as I said in the last week's episode where I answered one of the questions, it was like, where does Keanu's game go from here? And I essentially said he has to win HOH or he has to win a competition, otherwise he's gone. And look what happened. He had to win the HOH. Problem was, he used it horribly. He just not only burned all bridges with Rachel and her side, but it didn't show much of it tonight. But he also really burned a lot of bridges with Vince. Um, Vince essentially was telling Morgan this week that, hey, if I'm evicted, Keanu's target number one. But even now, he's been telling people he is going to put up Keanu and Kelly for eviction. And tonight's vote kind of pushes into that direction, I feel, because it was very clear that, for one, he was doing a hinky vote. He's just like a stray vote of sorts. But he also swore on the Bible the other night to Mickey that he will vote for her to stay. So, could be column A, could be column B, could be both. But the fact that he's been telling some people this, and how he just like is wanting to maybe write it out with the judges, which personally I think is a bad decision. But Morgan is really, really hankering down on this, and whatever Vince and Morgan have, because we're going to be talking a lot about that tonight too, could be swaying him in that direction, I guess. But let's get into the first episode this week, which was the HOH episode. And we had, Rachel rallying to target Kelly, which no surprises there. Rachel and Kelly just despise each other. Like Kelly just like threw everything Rachel's ever told her under the bus to her. And this week in particular, she's been like saying some weird stuff comparing her to her dad. I think Kelly has some unresolved issues with her family that for some reason she's pushing on to Rachel, kind of like in the same vein that Catherine in her exit interviews was stating that she was also pushing her traumas onto Rachel for breaking her and Riley up because she had her mom pass away and she just did not view Rachel in that same sense because she's also a mom. But just like how I would feel with Kelly, I mean, or with Catherine for this matter, how she's grieving and how she sees Rachel. It's the same thing how I feel with Kelly and how she feels Rachel is like her dad. These are traumas that Rachel is not related to in any way, shape, or form, and yet she's pushing it onto her. And there's some things that Kelly's doing throughout the week that's just like, to Rachel's irk, and same for Rachel with Kelly. Because, like, in a late one of the episodes later this week, there's like a little snippet from what Rachel said that Kelly just chimes in on. That's a little bit of a dig in, but some issues there that I feel like Kelly needs to have resolved. But anyway, after that, we get Lauren and Vince talking to each other about the vote and him doing damage control with regarding the Catherine situation. Lauren wants to play for herself and not for Vince, and that is a total lie because I've seen her this entire week, and it is very much assured that she is pretty much playing for Vince. So this entire week, it should have been Lauren really hunkering down on Ava because Ava is still wanting to run this Bond Girls Final Two with Lauren. And Lauren needs Ava more than she thinks because her side is Vinny, who has backstabbed her numerous times, Kelly, who is a house pariah, Keanu, who is the other house pariah. It's not looking good for her. I mean, if she's in a Final Two scenario sitting next to them, great. But it's not going to help her game at all when she's working with them because they're all going to be just instant targets. And this entire week, she's just been saying how she's so afraid to talk to Rachel, so afraid to talk to Will. And I'm just like, Will, you're afraid to talk to Will, the yes man of the house, the guy who is probably the most chillax, probably like second to Ava, maybe. You're scared. Like, I get you nominated him, but girl, like, you got to branch out. And I just feel like Lauren has potential to play. It's just she's playing so scared that it's just not doing her any good. And for her to say that, she's not going to play for Vince, yeah, I just knew right out the gate it was total bullcrap. And watching this week play out, even Kelly was telling her, like, we need to like separate ourselves from Vince. Like, we have to play for us and not for him because he's screwed us over so many times. And when Kelly is the one that's in the reason and right, there's a problem. You know there's a problem. So yeah, following after that conversation, we got Keanu and Vince talking. Keanu's pissed at Vince and tired of him being taken advantage of, which he's still being taken advantage of. Even after this week, he's going to be taken advantage of. Keanu is just never going to learn. And with how this week played off, it's just very much assured that he is still getting played by him. And then we got Keanu and Kelly talking. Keanu wants to keep Kelly long term, and Kelly feels the same, which honestly, I feel like they should lock in a final two because I feel like Keanu and Kelly's best options to win the game is to be sitting next to each other. I don't see any scenarios where they win unless if they're next to each other. And even then, it's like I would think Keanu might have better odds. I don't know. I don't know what kind of reality a Keanu Kelly final two would look like. It would be a weird one, but I don't think we're gonna see that. I really don't. And then after that, we got Rachel and Keanu talking. Keanu wants to fix things with Rachel and feels that she has reluctantly been working with him, which, I mean, Keanu, throughout this entire game, you've been undermining her. You have been like just ignoring her words. And yet she has proven herself right every single time. And yet you still gravitate to Vince. You still gravitate to people that are opposing her and still think that you're Mr. Right, which is just so annoying. But after that, we get like a little snippets of like memory wall stuff, like showing like events throughout the season, which is obviously going to be for the for the HOH competition, and so you know we got some of that, and we got like a little bit of that Kelly snark for Rachel as well before the competition. It was just how she just like wants to take out Rachel, wants to take her down, wants to have her be the last pre-juror. And again, with her like talking about her, if she doesn't like go out this week, then she wants her to be the first juror, so she celebrates her anniversary in the jury house all alone. Which her anniversary is this weekend, so that's not going to happen now, Kelly. So haha there. So we get to the competition. It's just a memory competition, simple A B answers, and it came down to Keanu and Kelly. And as bad as like Kelly HOH, as bad as this like Keanu HOH week was, I'd rather have taken that over the Kelly HOH week because I guarantee it probably would have been a combination of like Ashley, Rachel, and I'd assume Morgan or Mickey, or maybe even Will. I'd say most likely Will, and then maybe like Mickey as like a renom or something. I don't know. It just would have been bad, and I would not like that. Yeah. So and after Keanu wins, Kelly and Keanu celebrate with Keanu wanting to nominate Vince and Morgan, with Morgan as his main target because, like I said, he feels that Morgan is the one that's like just motivating Vince to do everything that he has done this season, which I don't know where he got that read from. It's like I don't know if he just saw them hug so many times that he's just like, yes, that's the one that's doing this to Vince. That's the reason Vince has betrayed me so many times. It's her. It's her, not him. It's her. And when the comments that Ashley and Rachel made tonight, were they fully correct? Were they fully wrong? There's some yes and no's to that. However, like I stated before, there's some misogyny like internalized in Keanu where he is going to believe the men more than he's ever going to believe the women. And it just I don't know, I don't say he's a misogynist in any way, but he has some values in his mind that I think is making him feel like he has to believe only the men. And that's what's been part of his downfall this entire season. So not the best, but again, what can you do there for Keanu? I feel like he's a lost cause. It's just like if you have a Y chromosome, likely he's going to believe you more than anything else. But yeah, so after that, we got Keanu and Rachel talking. He tried to build trust with her to not nominate her, and Rachel will be fake nice to him about it. And again, as parts of the episodes they didn't show, he did promise her that Ashley would not go up. And it's again a simple situation of like, Keanu, if you're trying to build bonds back with Rachel, maybe don't nominate her number one ally or number two or whatever you view her as. Because again, with Keanu, reality is whatever to him. And then we got Mickey and Will talk where she's like such sus of Rachel with Keanu, which I mean, which is understandable. Rachel and Keanu have been having a hot and cold relationship all season, but the thing is, I think like some of the players like pretty much got it with them too. Is that they're part of the same coin, but they're on opposite sides at all times. And I feel like Ava said it best tonight. And then after that, we got Ashley and Rachel talking. Rachel tells her how Keanu would try to keep them safe despite Ashley not believing it, which good on Ashley. I think like I love Rachel, but she has some off reads at times, and some of the stuff that she has been saying about Keanu, Vince, to the likes of Ashley and Will have like come with like some chagrin to it, where Will and Ashley are looking at each other like, yeah, right, and much pretty much that is the truth. Like I am fully on team Will and Ashley's reads. Ashley probably had some of the best reads in the entire house, and she wasn't wrong to be skeptical. And then after that, we got Morgan and Vince discussing the scenarios of the Kansas HOH, where they're just concerned an A bike go up. And again, good read there. And with Keanu and Vince, they spoke. Keanu tells him Morgan is his target, with Vince as a nom, with Vince fighting for his life. And Keanu's just like, look, I gotta put you up, man, because you take her off the block. And then, well, ironically enough, she does. So bad. Keanu's like reads this week were so horrible. And the fact that he just like really went against logic, which again, as an HOH this season is it's like every day, every day with the HOH, it should be something good, but yet it's not. I feel like Ava and Rachel are the only ones that have ever had a successful HOH this season, and the bar is in hell, but still, like, oh, it's so rough. It's so rough. Um, but after that, we got Rachel and Keanu talking. They talk about the Riley vote and they again wanting to reconnect. Rachel confirming to the camera she's just playing along. And again, with her dealing with Keanu for so long, I'm just like in the same shoes as Rachel. I cannot trust him for the life of me because he one just doesn't take anything close to heart in terms of information, and he's just so much of a wild card. It's like, would I want to trust someone like that long term in this game? I would not. Is he a good like goat to have the side as a sacrifice? Easily, but I'm not gonna have someone like him like long term in my game unless like I know I can beat him in the end, and I know I can do something to really save myself long term. But I don't know. Again, with how I do my rankings at the end of this video, there's going to be some conversations there that's going to be said about this. um, And then after that, we got more of Vince and Morgan talking to each other, consoling each other about they're likely going to go on the block, hugging, and it's going to be more hugging, and it's getting more awkward with the hugging that even people in the house are talking about it in certain parts of the episodes. Ooh. And just a little reference here with the hugging between Vince and Morgan. It's getting bad. It's like really, really bad where they're hugging so much to the point, or again, the house guys are talking about it, but it's like really like a lot of conversations of people like, yeah, he's got a girlfriend, right? Like it's getting a little weird. Well, looking back, if anyone's seen like Instagram and everything like that, Kelsey might be calling CBS like, hey, you remember Caitlin Herman from Big Brother 20 and how her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend asked for his name to be removed or mentioned in future episodes? I feel like that might be the case for Vince. I don't think he's going to be coming home to his 7 year long relationship after this season. So, you know, hopefully Vince subscribes to Morgan's YouTube channel because he's probably going to need to see a lot of her in the near future. Which again, also Morgan, girl, I like you, but why are you plugging your YouTube? Like that was so embarrassing. And it's like it would be like me like going out to Big Brother. It's like, yeah, check out the channel. I'm like, no, no. Or if any of you are like Survivor watchers, it's like kind of like the Survivor Blood versus Water finale where like ours was like promoting his music. It's like, please don't do that. It's so awkward. Um, But yeah, after that, Morgan and Vince combo, Morgan and Keanu talk to each other. Morgan accidentally ratting out Vince and basically how like she basically unironically confirmed to Keanu his suspicions of Vince using the veto on her. It's like, okay, yeah, I definitely now need to put you both up. And she's like, no, 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 no. I'm like, Morgan, what are you trying to do in that? When I was watching that live, I'm like, Morgan, you're just like digging yours and Vince's grave even further. And then after that, we had Keanu and Ava talk where he tells her he might nominate her, and there's like some other options. Which again, for this week, Ava should have been the renom. Ava should have been the renom option, or at worst, Lauren. Like he says tonight that he had no way of having other choices for the block, which is such BS. Every time someone says that, there are options. It's just that there are options that he's not choosing. And the fact that he was just so adamant on this just really dug his grave this week. Because again, part of Keanu's problem with his game is being flexible. And I feel like that lack of flexibility is what's going to cause his end, which I'm honestly kind of excited to watch. Might be this week for all we know. Yeah, and after that, we got Mickey and Keanu talking. Mickey was being told as potential nom, where she was not really surprised by. And then also like Vince and Keanu talking again. Vince arguing about how he doesn't want to be on a block, and then Keanu just tells back, "Well, you took out my allies, dude. I would look like the biggest idiot if I didn't nominate you." Which, at the very least, within those 24 hours of Keanu having that HOH, we were all just like, "Yes, he has his brain again, people. He has some clarity." Only to lose it after that 24 hours. And I also want to note this because it wasn't shown in the show. Keanu got like a letter from home from his mom, and it in that letter it was talking about him to being true to himself and just not forget who he was. And it really hit him, and that's why he like went to Rachel because he felt like he's been so disingenuous and that he really screwed up and wants to make amends, which I think was really what helped build back some bonds with Rachel. And then he just like, screw that, I'm gonna throw that out the window and just like go back to Vince, which is I'm just like, no, Keanu, like an abusive relationship. You're like you tell them that they're bad for them, and yet they still think that they can change them. It's like, no, they won't change, Keanu. They won't change. It's just a shame. And yeah, but then end of the episode, Keanu nominates Vince, Mickey, and Morgan. Yeah, as Rachel like so like says in like the veto episode yesterday, it's like I've seen these noms before. Oh yeah, I did them. But yeah, like anything that was happening between all that didn't make the episode. Again, Vince was really fighting hard to like stay off the block, and just the amount of crying and fake crying he was doing this week was just so pathetic. It was sad. It just it was not good. And like not fun. Also, like there was just like a lot of just like little things here and there about just like Kelly's hatred for Rachel. It was very weird. Again, this whole week with Kelly and how her feelings for Rachel are just kind of disturbing on certain levels. And I'm just so over her in the house. Like I really hope she's gone early. Um but yeah, that's basically what we saw leading up to the nominations. So the nominations episode thoroughly accurate for the most part. It's just the stuff that was like happening after the veto competition. That's when like a lot of the stuff that we did not get in the edit this week. So let's just jump to that episode. So we got Keanu and Rachel like starting off the episode discussing the main target being Morgan, with Rachel celebrating, happy that they're working together again, but still being apprehensive, which as you should, because it is Keanu of all people. And then following after that, we got Kelly and Vince talking, with Kelly feeling indifferent on who goes while hugging Vince. Keanu joins in and states how he can't do a blind eye to Vince with him crying. Keanu noting it as his punishment. And again, it's like I get it where you're going with Keanu, but like this was such a stupid risk this week. And again, Vince was this close to leaving tonight, because had Mickey won that competition, it would have been Mickey, Ava, Will, Rachel voting him out. He would have gone home against Ashley. And I was like really, 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 really wanting that to happen, because I just felt that Keanu, like whatever he wants, usually the opposite happens. And just like tonight, it was just like one of those like broken clock deals where it's like he was right just this one time. But personally, it was still like kind of like a failed HOH, because he just burned so many bridges with what he was doing the entire way through. But yeah, so with that, after that, we had Eva and Ashley celebrating the and praising Jesus that they're not up. And funnily enough, this week, Ava mentioned like how if I'm not on the block this week, I'm just gonna believe Jesus altogether. And like earlier this week, she was just like now that like everything was all done with Dominic, just like I guess I'm gonna go read the Bible because like I wasn't on the block. Frankly, I guess I believe in Jesus now. And yeah, so they celebrate, and then with later on, Keanu and Mickey talk about the noms and how she's pissed at him, and will nominate him if she stays this week, which well, not gonna happen now, but I think plenty are gonna do the same, Mickey. So you don't have to worry too much there. And then we got like the discussion with Ashley, Will, Rachel, and Mickey, where Mickey's working her relationship again with them, wants them to compete for her for the veto, which again Mickey, all of Mickey's mistakes stems all the way back to the Jimmy nomination. Morgan influenced her to nominate Jimmy. She burned her bridges with so many of her allies. Yes, she got them back, but the difference of what could have happened this season had she not do Jimmy and have done someone from Vince's side could have made such a big difference to this like season already at this point. But you know, frankly, it is what it is. She just did so much damage to her game with this move, and the fact that she was able to still get in good graces, like to a certain level, with them at this point, rather than jumping to the Vince side, I'm like, okay, good. But it's just like she just did so much damage to her game that even with her building back those relationships, with her being up against Ashley, who have had stronger relationships the entire time and haven't burnt anyone, kind of puts Mickey in a terrible position, regardless of who she's up against. Because even if it was Mickey versus Vince this week, Mickey still probably would have gone because Ava just despised Mickey that much because of how she treated her during her HOH-itis. So you know, kudos to Mickey for building her bonds back in, but again, it was just like on rickety wood at best. Um, so after that conversation, Vince and Morgan they cry and hug. Morgan crying how she hasn't won anything despite being a former A1 athlete. It's like foreshadow. Not obvious at all with that. But so it's starting like the whole hugging stuff with them, and their platonic friendship. And after that, we got Keanu and Morgan talking to each other. Keanu tells her that she's the target and sees her gone. He can't, so he can work with Vince again. Don't know why he would tell her this, but again, this is Keanu. Logic is not his best priority for any part of the game. And then after that, we got the fun Rachel's BB Burn segment with her just like her working out around the house and showing the public how to work out in the BB house. And again, starting with her like conversation with Will and Ashley about how she's working out. Yeah, I'm working out, getting fit. And what didn't make that edit, and it was like said on the sidelines by Kelly, it's just like she was just talking mad trash about her. It's like again, I feel like the edit is kind of doing a disservice with how vindictive Kelly is and how bad of a player Keanu is because the edit is really trying to make Keanu out as this good player, mastermind, underdog, when really he is just horrible at the game. He is just god awful at how he's played. And the fact that he's made it this far is the testament to not only the Big Brother blockbuster, but also the the veto that Casey won for him. But then after that, but in that segment, it was just funny because it was like showing her butting into conversations. It was also showing her how like you gotta train rolling your eyes when dealing with Keanu, which I believe that plenty. And then also the biggest diss of them all, an endurance competition of sorts, having to get an answer out of Lauren. And my God, did that feel the most accurate? Because Lauren, If anyone's ever watched Daria, she is like I keep forgetting her name, but she's like that one girl from the fashion club who would talk like this in a very monotone voice, very slowly. That's Lauren. That is 100% Lauren. And it's just so obvious that she is like struggling to like connect with people in the house, but also struggle to talk to people in general because she is just so monotone and just so scared, as she always says it, to like approach anyone. It's just so bad. But yeah, I love that segment. It was a fun diss segment. But then after that, we got Keanu and Kelly talking. Keanu tells her that he wants to use the veto on Vince and wants her to do the same, with Kelly saying to us that she won't use it on him, which, again, Kelly, you may be wrong most of the time, but at the very least, you are correct with this. It's like, why should you keep Vince? Why should you protect Vince? He has done nothing for your game. He has nominated you in this game. He has taken out so many of your allies. At this point, it's just like, why are you investing into him? So, yeah. So I don't deny that Kelly was telling the truth there that she would not use it on Vince. Um, but then after that, we also got Keanu and Lauren talking. He's also trying to convince her to do the same, with Lauren saying that she would try to save Vince, which again, it's like, cool, you're playing for Vince again, Lauren. And at least she calls herself out for it, where she was like saying like, I mean, yeah, we saved Vince, even though he took out my allies, but I did the same thing too with Adrian, which at least she's being real about it. So like it's like, Hypocrisy Hill is not nothing like for Lauren at the very least. So she's being realistic that yeah, I know I said I wasn't gonna work for Vince, but I feel like I have to, which again, it's just mostly due to her lack of effort with the other side of the house. Um, and then we got like Keanu and Vince talking, where he's like saying like, "All right, I got all these people wanting to save you on the block. You got a four, you got like a 2 out of 3 shot." And Vince is like, "That's awesome, but why am I on the block still?" Which again, Keanu doesn't know what he's doing half the time. Um, but yeah, so after that, we got Mickey and Rachel talking. They discuss about the Vita and the possibility of Ashley going up, or possibly Rachel herself, which didn't make the edit. Like Keanu said it like as an offline that maybe I should put up Rachel. He actually attempted to put up Rachel. Like the day of the renoms, like he approached Ava and Morgan, like, well, what if I put up Rachel? Would you guys be down to vote her out? Would you vote her out? And Morgan and Ava immediately shut that down, like, no, I'm not gonna vote out Rachel. No, no, no. Where Keanu's just like pouting. I'm like, well, I guess I'll have to do Ashley. And again, it's like this whole week was Keanu doing all this crazy stuff to burn bridges when he had to build them. He just did everything in his like own Keanu way that he thought is the right answer when it really wasn't. It's just annoying. Um, and following after that, we get the Vincent Morgan segment with him mentioning his girlfriend while Morgan massages him. And I'm just like Ava, walking into that room, getting all wide eyed and awkwardly walking out as Morgan is massaging Vince there. Oof. And we also see Will finding that to be very weird, with Rachel wanting to give the benefit of the doubt. Mickey also says that it's a showman's, how she feels. Again, the amount of hugging that these two have done, like in the previous episode with the nominations, there was a lot of hug segments showing them, and it's just the cheap dance is real. I'm sorry, the cheap dance is real because I don't. Earlier today or like earlier last night, Vince went up to Morgan, and it's hard to tell in the dark, but it looked like he kissed her on the cheek, and he said, "I love you." And I'm so glad not Kelly, Kelsey unfollowed his ass. I think he's single now. So I don't know what's going to be happening with him and Morgan in the future, but they're going to be stuck together for the rest of this month. Which, again, kind of wild to think that I believe the finale is at the end of this month, and we got like 9 people left. We got to have some like triple or double evictions coming up soon because, ooh, this is going to be a wild week. And with the upcoming weeks to follow, it's just like I just don't know when these evictions are going to take place. I know we're going to be like going in a bam, bam, bam type fashion, but I have to assume one of them is going to be this week with whatever the mastermind twist is going to be. But I don't know. The fact that they're hyping this up means something's about to go down, and 9 times out of 10, these types of twists are not going to look good. But yeah, after that, we get the veto picks, and of course, Ashley's in the shower. Which, BB, you're so shady for doing this every time. And what felt like worst case scenario to so many of the fans out there, Lauren and Kelly were picked, and Keanu got the house guest choice to pick Kelly, even though Rachel was very much like, pick me, pick me, pick me. And again, with Keanu like wanting to build back his bonds with Rachel, just pick her. Like, just you like she's not going to use the veto on Morgan, Keanu. And yet here you are choosing Kelly because you know that you're wanting to save Vince and you're already showing Rachel your priorities. You want to keep Vince. You want to take out Morgan. You could have easily have gotten, Rachel to essentially, you know, get to do what you wanted. But instead, it's like, I'm just going to keep burning bridges and I'm just going to keep assuming Rachel wants to work with me. And it's like, bro, lost cause. But then after that, Keanu and Kelly talk. Kelly tells him that she might use it on Morgan, much to his dismay. Kelly wants to build new relationships with Morgan, which I think, again, in terms of the edit this week, I think Kelly has gotten the best edit. I feel like they're showing Kelly where she's like, look, I know I'm on the bottom. I need to build something up from the bottom. And if I were to win the veto and use it on Morgan, that's the best case scenario for me. Which, again, I am very much happy that at least Kelly is putting in some initiative, but it's like she's still in a horrible position. And with her vindictiveness towards Rachel, Ashley, and anyone else connected through her, it's just not doing her good either way. And then after that, we got Vince and Keanu talking as they're celebrating about how the picks went for the competition. Again, the the way that you would see Vince, like how he was going on the block, all like, "Oh, it's me. I lost my tail," going all Eeyore, and then after that, like just like the confidence, where he's like, "Oh, I think I'm going to get off the block." Oh, oh, hey Keanu, love you now, my friend. Like the two-faced nature of this man, like he is such a rat. He is like Vinny the Lip. The dude is annoying to all heck. Um, but yeah, and we got Ashley and Mickey talking about the situation. They're upset about the picks. Mickey says she would like actually not use the veto had she won it, and her going into in the DR even doubling down on that. Which, you know, if she had done it this week, and if the outcome still went the same, granted, Vince won, so it doesn't really matter. But the fact that it would have been Mickey versus Morgan on the block, Mickey still would have gone. Like she would have Marcellus herself. And the fact that Zach did that with his idol of sorts, and for it to happen twice, would have been such a fun watch. I would have loved to have watched that. That would have been hilarious. But alas. After that, we got Rachel and Keanu talking. She's confronting him about the read-ons with him, telling her it would be Ava or Ashley, with Rachel not being happy about that. Again, if you're Keanu and you're trying to build bridges with Rachel, you should just say Ava. You should just say Lauren. It's just someone that's not Ashley. But either way, we are veto competition, and we get the return of the lovely Angela from Big Brother 26, who is reigning from France with her charcuterie on with her revenge uh, because she had it stolen from Brooklyn last season. Her just staring up in the HOA in the diary room, just all sad, all alone, just distraught. Which is still probably one of my favorite moments, like top 10 moments in Big Brother history. It's just like it's an all timer. If you have never watched Angela's charcuterie segment, please watch it. Go to YouTube, watch it somewhere. It's just it's perfection. Honestly, Big Brother 26 is a good season too, if you want to watch that as well. But yeah, she's hosting the competition. And it's ironically enough this stacking competition that Angela almost won the HOH win the week that she went home during the double eviction, which is hilarious when you think about that too, and the irony. But yeah, it's like, everyone's trying to stack their charcuteries and have this like giant Angela head thing like knock them down after a certain period of time. And apparently, Jimmy and Angela did like a little like FaceTime session together with the fans to watch. And apparently, as Angela was like eating her charcuterie throughout the competition, Rachel got up to like nab one of them, and she was just like talking to her. It's like, "Hey, what's up?" And she was like, "Girl, go back to your seat. This is my moment here." And apparently, even production was like, "Rachel, please sit back down." And I'm like, "Okay." You know what? Good on production for that one. It's like I love you, Rachel, but it's like let other players have their moment, okay? Like you're a legend in your own right, but give Angela some time to shine too. This is like it was a fun segment, and it really came down to like Morgan and Kelly, and Morgan came out on top, much to Keanu's annoyance. And essentially, yeah, Morgan won the power veto, and now Ava and Ashley are like talking to each other, like, so we're screwed. One of us is going up, which no, 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 duh, there. um, and then we got Rachel, Mickey, Will, and I believe it was Morgan discussing trying to push for Lauren to be the renom with Ashley being skeptical. Actually, I think it was Ashley. I've written down Mickey twice for that for some reason. I don't know why. Like I was just like trying to rush with the episode going. But yeah, Rachel was like saying like I'm gonna entice Keanu with my lasagna that I'm gonna make just for him because he loves it. And for those of you who don't know, Rachel was on another show prior to this season, a show called Worst Cooks in America, Celebrity Edition. Um, Knowing that, and knowing that Rachel would be in the house, I think of all people I would have cooked for me, she would not be one of them. He said it was good. I don't know if he was joking or not, but he said it was good. So maybe she learned a few things. I don't know. I saw Brendan like talk the other day about the French toast that she made, I think for Lauren, and he was like, I love Rachel, but some things that I would do instead of her would be cooking. So but yeah, the two eventually discussed about the renoms with her vouching for Ashley and to have Lauren go up, which doesn't go anywhere, unfortunately. And then we got Ashley and Keanu discussing about the renom, and Keanu feels she's threatening him, which in that conversation wasn't really much of a threat. It was just like her saying, like, well, if you're gonna put me on the block, I guess I'll have to put you up. And he's like, well, that's a threat. It's like, Keanu, you're telling her she's gonna go up. Wait, you're gonna be in the final nine next week. If she stays in the game, like you're gonna be an easy option to go up here. Like, come on, dude. But yeah, and then we then got Keanu and Vince talking, and this was like something that they really just like glossed over, which was like such a huge thing that happened over the weekend, was Keanu telling Vince, what if we convince Morgan to use the power of veto on you and not herself? And then we still vote Morgan out. He's like, she's not gonna do this. It's like we have to try. It's literally giving Survivor Micronesia, Eric giving his immunity necklace to Natalie vibes. The only difference is They are not the Black Widow Brigade. They are far from the Black Widow Brigade. They are the men that the Black Widow Brigade would mess up 100% in the game. And it showed Vince pushing for it. It showed Keanu pushing for it on Morgan through the episode. Again, she was kind of ha-haing it, and then maybe I might actually do this. Literally, this whole weekend, it was Vince just being such a scummy person, just going up to her. It's like, you should use the veto on me. You should really use it on me. I will keep you safe. It's our best scenario. He puts up Lauren. Lauren goes. What's the worst that's gonna happen? And again, he was just pushing for this, waking her up in the middle of the night, pushing for this. This was not Keanu's main plan. This was Vince's at the end of the day. Vince was the one that was pushing for this the most. Keanu, even at certain points, was like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. I don't think she's going to believe it. And it's like, no, we got to push. I want to be off the block. And I'm just like, Vince, bro, oh my God, dude. It was so pathetic and sad to watch. But it was like, again, leading up from the start of Morgan having her veto all the way to the renom. He was just on her ass trying to get her to do it. And again, at certain points, she was looking like she was going to do it. And it was until she had conversations with Ashley and Rachel where the two basically told her, this is a stupid idea. And Rachel told her, and it didn't make the episode, but she told her, it's like, what if we were to do this? Make a Final Four deal or an alliance of four with us and Vince and Keanu, and then we can get Lauren up, which led to the conversations later in the episode that had Morgan and Vince leave the room when Keanu and Rachel were kind of arguing with each other, and how Rachel was trying to push for Lauren to go up and then Ava to go up. And literally, the moment she did that, Keanu just bursts out of the room on the live feed and goes straight to Ava to tell her all this information. It's just a lot of stuff that should have made the edit, unfortunately didn't. But again, I don't know. There's certain stuff I felt like could have been dropped for this episode, but what can you do? It is what it is there. And another moment that happened on the live feeds that didn't make the episodes either was that Rachel dropped her wedding ring into the hot tub, and she was diving in to grab it with Will, Ava, and I believe Morgan or Ashley hyping her up. And it was just drunken shenanigans. It was hilarious to watch. And again, Kelly making more snide comments about it. But yeah, essentially Morgan's telling him yeah, I'm gonna use it on myself. And we then get to the veto ceremony where Keanu puts up Ashley. Ashley calls Keanu out for his actions with Rachel sniping in him because he kept on interrupting. Personally, I'm Team Ashley on this. I don't care what people are saying. People are saying oh, it was so rehearsed. Oh, it was so cringe. What speech isn't? What speech isn't rehearsed and cringe? At least Ashley's doing something. She's fighting back. She's actually saying what people want to hear. Because a lot of people have been saying this, that Keanu has been talking down on a lot of the women. He's been having some misogynistic conversations, how it feels, with how he just looks down on the women whenever he talks to them, but whenever he talks to the men, he hypes them up. So she's not wrong. But yeah, that's how that episode ends. And again, what happened leading up to that again was the wedding ring situation. Vince, being the scumbag that he was, really trying to hammer into Morgan. Can you please use it on me? Can you please? I'll hug you more. And all again, more the conversations about the hug mance and everything. It was so bad. It was so bad. But yeah, that was pretty much what happened essentially for all that leading up to the eviction or leading up to tonight's episode. Um, and with the events that they showed, it was really very minuscule because we got the ceremony fallouts with Keanu vouching for Ashley was his only option, which we all know is kind of BS. We got Rachel and Keanu, just the whole back and forth situation. it was just like so bad like seeing this fight too. And I do appreciate Will saying it like it was. It's like, okay, Rachel, you're just like trying to like really egg him on. And yeah. But yeah, we got the conversations of like Mickey trying to vouch for her votes to try to save herself against Ashley, which again, kind of like a dead cause there. And we got Keanu telling Ava about the whole situation. And again, Ava being the most realistic, where it's just like there's Keanu's story, there's Rachel's story, and then there's the truth. They're on the same coin. It's hard to do what either one wants. I'm just going to play it out like it is. And again, I like how she calls it out to him. It's like, hey, you guys can have your fight, just don't drag me into it. You know what? Kudos to you, Ava Pearl. Um, but yeah, basically the rest of the episode is just like all the campaigning and everything, and how it's just like Mickey may consider on like keeping Vince over Ashley, which honestly I don't think that was going to be the case. I really do believe Mickey was going to evict Vince tonight, and this also that wasn't shown in the episode tonight. Ashley really worked over Ava. The conversation that she listened on last week with Lauren and Ashley in the bedroom, I think changed her whole perspective on Ashley. She is now a ride or die for her. She is like really hyping her up and like really just loves her now. Like she basically was like saying like, Ashley, I've had some misconceptions about you, but frankly, I'm going to keep you no matter what. And honestly, there were times that I felt this week that Vince might have actually gone even next to Mickey because he had his one on one yesterday with Ava, and the one on one was horrible. He really was like basically throwing people under the bus, really like victimizing himself and everything, and just telling Ava what she wants to hear, which led to her talking to Lauren and how Lauren and her were discussing things, and basically he was telling Ava who he would put up that's different from who he would tell Lauren. And that led to Ava being on like, fuck Vince, screw him, I'm over him. Basically going to like some of her other allies. It's like, I'm over Vince. It was so, that one on one was so bad. I'm like thinking, like, oh, Vince might just leave no matter what this week at this point because he really burned that bridge with Ava. The thing with Vince, and again, it's just like, there are times where I feel like he can be a good player, and there's other times where I feel like, ooh, Vince, that was horrible. That is not a good social move there. So it's hard to tell with his positioning and what he does. But regardless, we got our blockbuster competition. I would assume the last blockbuster competition with them grabbing balls and putting them in like the correct order. They did this last season. I believe that was the competition. It was between Tucker, I believe it was like Tucker, Kenny, and Quinn. I don't know. Either way, Tucker won that competition, and I believe that was the episode that Kenny got booted. Um, but yeah, I believe this might be the last of the blockbuster competitions. They didn't specify that it was, but we're in the jury phase. There's 9 people left. I gotta assume it's over at this point. And with what they're doing with the twist this week, I'd imagine it would be. But yeah, so Vince wins the competition. We get to like everyone like talking, and we got like Ashley and Mickey basically doing their last pleas, aka their shout outs to their families, and everyone but Vince votes to evict Mickey. And again, Mickey's with Mickey's vote with Vince, he swore in the Bible for her, but again, I think he could also be a hinky vote in this situation. I'm kind of surprised that Kelly didn't vote to evict Ashley because she was actually doing like a last minute push to keep Mickey over her, but just no one was like going for it, which again kind of shows how bad her social capital is in the game because even her closest allies are like, nah. But yeah, and then we got like Julie, still promoting that Big Brother Unlocked. That's like, hey, Lance Bass is gonna be on this week. Woo! Again, still not gonna watch it. It's just it's so bad. But then like also noted like, hey, here's the mastermind, and he's got this whole thing that he's gonna be setting up for the White Locust Resort. And Oh boy. I'm thinking we're gonna have a split house again. Um, what I mean by that is back in Big Brother 24, there was Riot Fest and Dire Fest. Those festivals had one half of the house living on the outside of the house and one living on the inside. I feel like we're going to be having that again. And I feel like one's going to be in the Locust Resort, one's not. And I feel like we're going to have some form of like 4 or 5 split house, or whoever's the HOH is the only one safe this week. And they have to nominate people from each side of the house or something. I don't know. I'm just like spitballing. But something's going to happen this week. I feel like we're going to lose 2 people this week, maybe. If not, this is going to be a weird week, especially with it being like a 2 hour episode, I believe, on this upcoming Thursday episode for what I'm seeing for the schedule. I don't know. I'm ready for a double eviction. I'm ready for a trip. I'm ready for something because like we need to like thin these numbers here because the season's coming close to an end, and we gotta get this ball rolling here. But yeah, so this week, as always, I had a poll, and with that poll, I had the following questions asked, and here's what I got for my answers. So, first question I asked, it was, "Who's your favorite player?" Rachel's still number one. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon until Rachel leaves. So, and who is your least favorite player right now? No shocker there. Kelly's on the bottom again because again, Kelly is just such a miserable player. She's so mean for no reason, and yeah, so no shock there that Kelly is on the bottom. My next question was rank the players from best to worst. The top 3 that we had ranked this week was Rachel, Will, and Morgan, which I'm not surprised by. Rachel, I feel like again people are being too generous with Rachel here. Will and Morgan though, I can definitely agree with. With like just like Mickey said in her eviction tonight, she sees Will and Morgan as top probably some of the top contenders to win the season. I can honestly see that. Like and honestly, of everyone that's left, the only ones I wouldn't be upset about if they won, like I mean truly I would only be upset if Kelly won or even Lauren. Everyone else, I'm like, there's a story to be told. There is something worth noting for them. So honestly, I'm kind of happy with how this cast is. But yeah, Will and Morgan, definitely top tier contenders for that. Bottom of the list was Lauren, Keanu, and Kelly, which, nope, yep, not surprised. Keanu butchered his HOH this week. Kelly is still on the bottom in terms of just horrible gameplay, and Lauren is just not doing anything to help progress herself in any way, other than like Ava. But again, she's barely doing anything with her, and I feel like she needs to if she's going to actually get something worth like going for her game. Um, yeah. My next question was, are you satisfied with Keanu's final nominations? Majority said no. I can understand why. um, who do you believe is going home this week? Majority of people said Mickey, which y'all were on that one. And then my next question was, rate the episodes this week from 7 to 10. Majority gave it a 7 out of 10. I'd say that's decent. We got some drama. We got Angela back on our screens. There was, like, for the most part, trueness to a lot of the edit. I just felt like there should have been a little bit more regarding, like, Vince pushing for Morgan to use a veto on him. But other than that, though, I think we got at least most of what we wanted. And then rate the life feeds this week. We got an 8 out of 10 for that, which I'm like, eh. I feel like we got some decent stuff, but honestly, it like other than like the week and leading up to the veto renoms, it has just been dead for the rest of the week since that point. I felt like if I were to rank it personally, I'd say maybe like a 6 out of 10. We got some entertainment for the weekend portion, but for the rest of the week, nah. But unfortunately, we didn't have any other questions this week. However, I do want to go off of the question that I had last week again with Keanu. And again, this will go into my rankings because at this point, since we're on the jury phase, we'll just go from like 1 to 9, with Mickey heading herself off at 10. uh, because we're going to start off at number 9, and it is Keanu. Keanu is still in a horrible position. I still think he's in a worse position than Kelly because, regardless, if someone that is not Kelly, Lauren, or Vince, well, like, maybe even not even Vince, win HOH, Keanu and Kelly are going up on the block together because I assume the blockbuster is over and everyone's going to be like, well, okay, we got 2 nominees now. We got 2 obvious goats to put up here. Kelly and Keanu, I just feel like are going to be the easiest noms to put up next to each other. And in that scenario, if there is no veto used, Keanu's going to be leaving over Kelly, no matter what. I feel like Keanu has burned so many people. He has pissed off so many people. He's won more comps than Kelly. I think a lot more people are just seeing him as the bigger threat. And if he doesn't save himself this week from getting on the block, he's likely going to be the first juror. There's no other way of putting it. He is just in such a horrible position. Him winning HOH this week should have helped him. It should have worked his game. It should have helped him with Rachel. It should have helped him with Vince. But instead, he not only nominated Vince, he targeted Morgan, he targeted Ashley, he targeted all these people that he should not have targeted. Mickey, yes, he should have targeted Mickey. Okay, that was a correct nomination. Morgan had some validity to it. If you were to not nominate Vince, that would have made more sense then when you're doing Morgan. But then to then also do Vince as an initial nominee already was a horrible decision right out the gate there. To not put up Ava instead of Ashley was a horrible mistake to make there. To not put up Will as a replacement nominee to ensure someone like Morgan or Mickey go was a horrible decision. It was just bad decision after bad decision this week. He just did not play this well, this HOH. He's pissed off most of the house. Even his own allies were not willing to work with him to save Vince this week as a nominee. It just, he really just went 2 steps back without even going a step forward. He just shot himself in the foot again. And again, if he's voted out, he's voted out. I can't keep saying anything else about Keanu that's positive. I can't. There's nothing positive to say about him. He's a horrible player, and he just keeps playing horribly every single week. It's just how he is, unfortunately. So, yeah, Keanu's going to be on the bottom. He's probably going to just keep on staying on the bottom until he's voted out. Unless some miracle happens. But no. And speaking of that same situation, at number 8, I got Kelly. Kelly, again, similar situation. No one in the house likes her. No one in the house trusts her. No one in the house respects her. She tried to flip the vote to take out Ashley over Mickey. Her own allies shut her down on it. It is just very clear she is on her own. Even though she has Lauren, even though she has Keanu, they don't have her. They are just reluctantly. Like that trio of Keanu, Lauren, and Kelly, they are reluctant allies because they know they're on the bottom, but they're just like, what can we do other than try to take out the other side so maybe we could work something? But it's just nothing that's going to say that. And if Keanu and Kelly are next to each other, and if Keanu saves himself with a veto, Kelly's the goner because it's likely going to be her against Lauren, unless by some miracle Vince is next to her. But even then, who knows? I could still see Kelly leaving in that scenario. But yeah, Kelly's not doing herself any favors. Her and Keanu could honestly have the number 9 spot tied for all I care about because they're just playing so horribly. The only advantage that Kelly has is that she's one less comps than Keanu, and people are going to see Keanu as a bigger threat. That's all I can see with that. And then at 7, I got Lauren. Again, of that trio, it's essentially like Lauren's the safest of those 3. But in like some weird reality where it's like Keanu or Kelly are nominated and like Lauren's the other nominee and the other uses on the veto, then yeah, Lauren's gone. But I, I don't know. Lauren, I just like I want her to do more. I want her to play. I want her to work her relationship with Ava because if she can work her relationship with Ava, she could probably get in good with Will. She could probably get in good with Morgan, Rachel. But she's so afraid to play the game that she's going to stick with people that have time and time again backstabbed her. And I'm just like, Lauren, you have to take a stand here. How are you going to win this game if you are just going to like grovel at every moment that there is some gameplay? Again, you may be safer when you're next to Kelly or Keanu, but if Kelly and Keanu lead back to back, where are you going to be in that safety order? Because you are a goner if otherwise. So moving on, at number 6, I got Vince. Vince played horribly this week. He focused so much on trying to get Morgan to use the veto on him, yet he forgot that he also needed to play the social game with the rest of the house. He was so burnt out from that, he barely campaigned. And when he did campaign, it was not good. And now when he's saying like he wants to take out Keanu for the judges, that's not going to bode well. He is playing more for Morgan. I can at least say that Keanu may have some validity with his comments about Morgan having some like control over Vince. That being said, though, it's like if he really is going to do this, he could easily be shooting his game in the foot more so than Keanu did this week. Because if he were to nominate Keanu Kelly and Keanu was to go, he might have like lost his like best like fighter in the house and would have someone like Kelly retaliate big time on that. And like again, with the outcome that would have been tonight, had Mickey won the blockbuster, Vince would have been out. He would have gone out 4-3. It's just like this whole week he has been playing so horribly, and not only that, putting him and Morgan into a position where everyone's seeing him now as an odd duo, where they're very much like starting to become uncomfortable with his actions, with this whole cheap man's thing, the hug situation, whatever you want to call it. It's just awkward, and he's just not doing himself any favors. But for Vince, the likely scenario for him, if he was to leave this week, is likely an arena situation. So he's in a decent spot, but there's scenarios, and I kind of hope those scenarios happen, to be honest. At number 5, I got Ava. Ava's dropping for me. She's playing so passive this week. She's doing good, gaining traction with Lauren and Ashley, and obviously she has Will, she has Rachel. It's just the matter is she's just not willing to put more effort into the game. And even so far as to literally fake being sick just to avoid strategy talk for a day that she did this week. It's just, it's not pretty. And unfortunately for Ava, if this is the way that she's going to go, I fear that she's going to be either like finale fodder or double eviction fodder. It's one of the ones I'm seeing at this point. We'll see how it goes for her, but it's not looking good. But at the very least, she's definitely going to be very safe. I can say that much. Next up, I have Rachel. Rachel is she has enemies. Yes, Kelly hates her. Lauren wants her out. Keanu, who knows what the hell he's doing with her. But like the judges' alliance is really keeping her in check. It's really helping her stay in the game. It's very much saving her from the likes of Vince and Morgan. And again, in a scenario this week where it's 8 people competing for the HOH, and if Vince really isn't targeting Rachel, she only has to worry about 2 people. Now, granted, it's Lauren who has won an HOH, and Kelly who has come close to winning an HOH and has won some comps prior. That being said, if it's 6 against 2, I mean the odds are kind of there for Rachel. And on top of that, she has Ashley, she has Will, she has Ava. she has people that are willing to fight for her, even in certain situations. I feel like even Keanu might vouch for her, but I don't even know at that point. She is in an interesting situation, and I feel like people might want to save Rachel for like an easy target situation, like a double eviction. So we'll see where that goes. But going into our top three, we have Ashley at three. And quite honestly, I think Ashley is in a strong position now because people are underestimating her. People are wanting to protect her. Obviously, with how this week was, with especially with like the Renom speech and everything, you would think people would want to vote for her, but now it's like almost the whole house wants to keep her because they think they could beat her in the end. And she's using that to her advantage. I think I just need for her to win some competitions to prove herself because if she doesn't, she's definitely going to go lower on my list. But that being said, at the very least, she's in a good situation where she's going to be protected. She can have shields up like a Rachel and likely survive over that. So we'll see where that goes. I think she will be doing some good in the near future, I hope. And number two, I got Morgan. Morgan was definitely on the verge of leaving this week. That being said, though, she saved herself with the veto. She not only that, she has Vince kind of like on like team judges again, and on top of that, has strong bonds with like a good chunk of the house now. And because like I feel like she's running the middle pretty well. Like I don't see a scenario from the likes of Kelly or Lauren nominating Morgan, and I don't see anyone from the other side doing the same. So quite honestly, she's very safe at the moment. She's in a good position. I just feel like her biggest crutch in the game is Vince. And her only way to flourish is for Vince to go because everyone's seeing them as that pair. And when people see you as an obvious pair, you can easily be taken out. So Morgan just has to worry about that with Vince. And if all goes well, then at the very least, she could maybe go far. But we'll see on that. And at number one, I got Will. Will is playing like the best social game at the moment. He's saying everything that everyone wants to hear. He's in the safest position. No one's going to nominate him. No one's going to vote him out. He is going to really go far in this game, I feel. I don't think anyone's really wanting to target him at this point. No one's really wanting to do anything to get him out. The only scenario I could ever see him maybe being in some danger is in a double eviction scenario. But even then, I think he would still stay compared to someone else. Um, but yeah, those are my rankings for the jury phase of Big Brother 27. At 9, Keanu, 8, Kelly, 7, Lauren, 6, Vince, 5, Ava, 4, Rachel, 3, Ashley, 2, Morgan, and 1, Will. What are my thoughts, though, going into next week? Like I said, if Lauren or Kelly and maybe Vince don't win HOH, it's likely going to be Kelly and Keanu nominations with the likeliness of one of them leaving. If Kelly, Lauren, or maybe Vince wins HOH, it's likely looking like Rachel and Ashley nominations. It's just like it's kind of obvious where like the targets are going at this point. Um, me and who knows? Maybe Kelly might nominate Vince for all we know. To get some revenge in. I don't know. But it's just looking how it's looking like for the season. I'm expecting next week for either potentially like some version of like Rachel or Ashley leaving if the one side wins, or a version of Keanu or Kelly leaves if the other does. That's where I'm seeing it right now. And whatever this twist may be, whatever this White Locust Resort is going to be like, we'll find out. Apparently, like all the interviewers are saying, like, oh, the fees are going to be wild tonight. Whatever the heck that's going to mean. So who knows? But yeah, my name is Kyle Dorr. Thanks for watching the BB Brains this week, and let's see what this jury phase is going to be for us. Hopefully, some more wildness that this season has been bringing. Hope y'all have a good one.